Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
Hi, I'm DKWILL, and this is DK. We'll talk about it.
A friend and associate, and matter of fact, the creator of the Gorilla Grip artwork that I've been using, Bellicose, asked me to explain the new Genius Act of 2025 in a manner that as if I was explaining it to a 12-year-old. So I'm going to break it down first, the short version, and then the video will get a little bit more involved. Stablecoins are regulated, and with the signing of this act, when that occurs, it can no longer be issued and created by just anyone in the United States. You will need government authorization, and the issuer must have FDIC or SIPC insurance and real cash or assets backing the coin that they issue. Plus, they must report their account status monthly. Now, this puts primarily bankers and brokerages and wealthy entities in charge of issuing stablecoins. And stablecoins is a very lucrative business. The issuer gets to make money off the money purchasing stablecoins from people like us, retail and others, but only guarantee that it doesn't become less than a valuable of $1 to $1. Now, of course, some will and do offer interest, and they do that now, but they earn a lot more than they pay. Another main change is no more fractional banking. If they don't have it, they can't claim they do to lend it. No 10% reserve, hocus pocus anymore. Small issuers can register at the state level or the federal level, whereas if it has a valuation of over $10 billion, they must register at the federal level. So the issuers can invest your stablecoin purchase in specified acceptable assets, and we'll see that that's mostly treasuries and other things like that. Make a 2 times, 3 times, 10 times return off your money and pay you dollar for dollar that they used. Now, if they have interest, they'll pay you dollar for dollar plus the interest, no matter how many times they made money off your money. Now, this actually creates competition for our money because there's only so much out there since fiat creation won't count. So if a stablecoin isn't paying you interest, and a healthy interest, don't buy it. It's a losing proposition. Why? Because you pay fees to buy it, and then you go one-to-one. So that's the short version. Now let's talk about it.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.
So after some definitions, so that we know what we're talking about, and I'll cover a couple other terms as I go along, we go down to find out who is a permitted stablecoin issuer. And it says a subsidiary of an insured depository institution that has been approved to issue payment stablecoins under Section 5. Can you say Repo? It's a federally qualified non-bank payment stablecoin issuer that has been approved to issue payment stablecoins under Section 5. Can you say Ripple? And it's a state qualified payment stablecoin issuer. Once again, can you say Ripple? Don't forget all those state contracts they got. So can a person. And that term means an individual, partnership, company, corporation, association, trust, estate, cooperative organization, or other entity. So yes, even regular people like, say, billionaires can issue a stable coin. Remember, it is a lucrative business. And then it goes on to say federal banks, basically. With respect to an insured credit union or subsidiary, the National Credit Union Administration. With respect to the qualified non-bank stablecoin issuers, that is not a national bank, the comptroller. And with respect to any entity chartered by the comptroller of the currency. It goes on to say subsidiary or issue of a credit union. So credit unions, you're not excluded, but that's not the point. The point is right here. It shall be unlawful for any person other than a permitted payment stablecoin issuer to issue a payment stablecoin in the United States. That's going to put a lot of stablecoin issuers out of business. And keep in mind, stablecoins run into the trillions. And don't forget, Ripple was approved to issue a quadrillion RLUSD. Now, what's going to be backing them primarily? What's primarily going to be backing them when it says 1-to-1 is going to be United States coins, including Federal Reserve notes. Those will die with the horse and buggy, the Federal Reserve notes. They have to maintain reserves of those or funds in demand deposits, accounts, bank accounts, different types of accounts to simplify things. And then here, treasury bills, notes, and bonds with a remaining maturity of 93 days or less. So with a remaining maturity of 93 days or less, or issued, which would only be bills with a maturity of 93 days or less. And so let me pause here, and I pulled up some of the videos that I've done in the past to show now hindsight being 2020, but this was foresight. And this one here is following the roadmap to the Treasury I did a year ago. And then, of course, one man's country's trash is another man's treasury, talking about the exodus from the Treasury, but encouraging my viewers, hey, you might want to look at Treasury products as a source of the future of where money is going. And certainly, this is showing that that's the way things are going. And then another thing that can back them is repurchase agreements with a maturity of 7 days or less that are backed by, here we go again, treasury bills with a maturity of 90 days or less. Well, what's a repurchase agreement? Real quickly, what a repurchase agreement is where one party sells securities to another party with an agreement to repurchase them at a later date at a slightly higher price. Once again, revenue generating. So it's almost like a short-term borrowing mechanism between firms for fast money and like putting your money in a high yield CD just for a moment. So that's what a repurchase agreement is. Then it goes on to say mutual funds, not mutual funds, money market funds. And we know money market funds make good money as well. They have nice returns, but keep in mind the issue of the stablecoin can have their money market fund earning 9%, but if they promise you 4.5%, that's all you're going to get. They're going to keep the other 4.5%. Like I said, it's a lucrative business. And then, of course, central bank reserve deposits. Now, this is still talking old monetary system when it talks about central banks. I'm a believer that a new monetary system is coming into play, and all this will be ready for it. There's also a prohibition on rehypothecation. It says reserves described under the paragraphs may not be pledged, rehypothecated, or reused except for the purpose of creating liquidity to meet reasonable expectations of requests to redeem payment stable coins, such that reserves in the form of treasury bills may be pledged as collateral for repurchase agreements with a maturity of 90 days or less, provided that. We're not going to get into the provided that, but rehypothecation. Rehypothecation is a practice where banks and brokers use for their own purposes assets that have been posted as collateral by their clients. Clients who permit rehypothecation of their collateral may be compensated either through a lower cost of borrowing or a rebate on fees. In a typical example, securities that have been posted with a prime brokerage as collateral by a hedge fund are used by the brokerage to back its own transactions and trades. So it's using the money. When financial firms use assets that have been posted as collateral by their clients. That's another provision. And here it's prohibited, prohibition of rehypothecation. And that's almost along the lines of earlier in my simple description of killing off the fractional banking. It's not exactly the same, but it is loaning money that really ain't yours. That won't be permitted. Without getting too deep into it, I think that's enough. If you really want to get it, go to the short version. So, in short, The global market, not just the US market, is about to go through a major drastic change as soon as this act is signed into law. Because if a stable coin doesn't meet the criteria that we reviewed here, which included monthly statements, along with the one-to-one backing, without the fractional banking, or the rehypothecation, we are going to end up seeing some coins not even available in the United States. And one of those coins just might be at $160 billion, Tether. Tether doesn't like to even get audited, but here we're saying monthly statements. What's going to happen is the United States market is about to get regulated. And so we can rest assured that the 10 quadrillion, I think it was, 10 quadrillion authorized mineable ROUSD will take a front run. This will probably disappear unless it wipes its nose and gets clean, which will push this up into the number 3 spot, along with other developments that will probably push it into the number 2 spot. And then it's going to go head to head with the kahuna, the big kahuna, Bitcoin. That might spark a lot of Bitcoin maxis to say something to me on the comments, and I hope so. I'll poke the bear. I don't scare easy. I'm DKWILL, and this is DKWILL Talk About It, and I've talked about it. Have a wonderful day.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right.